Yes, indeed, y'all. Flash specialist and the dive instructor back again. Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited. We don't demonstrate, bitch, we penetrate. And I hope you got your life jacket on, because you don't want to drown in this information, this infotainment. Because we about to give it to you the only way that we know how. So, buckle up, Velcro up, get your paddles ready, and let's go. What's going on with it, man? What's happening?
Man. Yeah, man. It's a new fiscal year, but
yeah, buddy. It's a wild fiscal year, all starting off with a bang, bang, bang already.
Yeah, big bang, big bang, big
that
boom.
Part. Big bang. Shout out to the Busta Rhymes album.
Nah, okay. I gotta check that one out.
For sure.
Man, so much going on. Going on. But the one thing that doesn't seem to change in America is the controversy over Black identity and whatever the hell that is, right? We know it's so diverse, being of the culture, of the people, of the, you know what I'm saying? But, there's so much to unpack, man. We want to do that for you all. Thanks for joining the Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited. The great intro from my main man.
Yes, sir. We do what we can when we can do.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we do what we can. You do what you can do about it. Wheezy.
T-shirts coming.
But yeah, man. So much happening right now. So many things that we could jump on, and we might make mention in this episode. But our focus is going to be, the controversy and the misunderstanding of Black identity, Black image in the media. Why is it that there seems to be, or not just seems to be, but there is a blatant double standard, even today, that exists when discussing issues that affect communities, where ours gets zero slack. And, our culture gets misappropriated, stolen, taken on like a wig or a baseball hat or a changeable t-shirt, but those that actually are of the identity, get little respect for their contributions, late mentions, et cetera, et cetera. Mediocrity is promoted in some cultures and communities, and then when it comes to us, we got to be 2 times as better. 2 times as good or twice as good, 2 times better. So, yeah, man, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick it off, since this was your brain baby and the continuation of a previous episode that we want you to check out as well. But go ahead. Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, the whole thought just came about, one day I was just thinking, it really ain't, you go to the hood ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? The only time the hood is bad is if there's somebody else that comes into that hood that tries to disrupt the peace that's already in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And they'll say, oh, well, that's just in that community. No, that's not just in that community. That's in anybody's community. You can have beef with your next door neighbor. You know what I'm saying? You watch these neighborhood war shows, and ain't none of those ever shown in the hood, basically. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's basically a falsehood to say that all bad stuff happens in the hood and the hood is bad. No, the hood ain't bad. And there's really good people in the hood. You know what I'm saying? There's bad people. I'm not saying that there's bad people in the suburbs or there's all good people there either. But, dude, it's not bad in the hood. But you can never get that stigma, that stench saying, oh, well, we're going to go to the hood now, lock your doors, roll your windows up. First off, they don't want what you got. They cool where they are. You know what I'm saying? Indeed. But again, that is all basically portrayed by what the media dictates us as, or dictates the hood as. You know what I'm saying? If you actually go to the hood is not going to trip on you.
You
how many really good food spots is in the hood?
a lot, a
How many
lot.
times do you go to them hood food spots and don't have to worry about nothing?
Facts.
I mean, sometimes it might be something that goes on, but I guarantee 9 times out of 10 it's not involving you.
Exactly. You know, I remember one time, first time I visited, there was a certain housing project in Youngstown, our hometown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roll up in there, four guys approached me. They were all leaning on their car, sitting in the parking lot. And I wasn't tripping. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't fearful. I wasn't like, what are they about to do to me? I just was generally like looking like, do I know them? Looking in their faces. They're looking at me, seeing my face. Do I recognize him? Like, I know you from somewhere. Like, yeah, like, who you here to see? I'm like, oh, I'm here to visit Angie. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Lean back on the car. You there with somebody that they know, they related to, whatever. Like, you have business there. And it don't
Right.
them, they used to be. We mind our own business. You know, I used to tell people, like, went to church in the hood. You want to come visit my church? Oh, you know, kind of nervous. I said, why? Is it your congregation predominantly black? I said, there's white people that go to our church. They said, right here. I said, wow.
Bruh.
In the hood.
It's dang near every race that
Yeah.
went to that church, bruh.
I said, if anything, I said they're either going to go out of their way to be friendly to you, or they're not going to notice you, because we don't typically see color in the same way or complexion in the same way. So they might notice, oh, there's a white person that walked in the building, that's the minority in this setting, but they're not looking at you as a threat or as prey, you know, as a target or anything like that. It's like, okay, that who's that white sister or that white brother or that group of that family that came in. But you know, that perception, like you said, that stigma, that stench. I'll give you an example. My virtual background. I type into the AI generator, the hood. This is what comes up. I lied to you not.
I
So
know.
I'm
That's
like,
why it's
okay,
funny.
like cool. Let me just use this for the show. Like, you know, this will be the backdrop possibly for the, you know, the show going forward for a little while. So we get bored. We didn't want to change it up for you all like we do. But yeah, man, I'm with you on that. So many misunderstandings and misrepresented ideas about the hood, and you know, black folks from the hood or in the hood, they don't take care of their houses. They don't. What you'd see us out still
Man,
detailing the car
it's
on
some
Saturday,
beautiful houses in the hood.
cutting the lawn, picking up the leaves, the trash, you know, on Saturday. You know what I mean? On a good week, maybe even Wednesday and Saturday, but for sure by Saturday morning, that's going on unless it's pouring down rain or some other extreme weather conditions. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
yeah, man.
Exactly, man. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't understand it. I totally understand it. It just still to this day baffles me, and it really don't even baffle me because it's like normalized now, but it's still some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because you figure anybody else, you're not gonna get that in another diaspora. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But the black and brown communities, you definitely gonna get that shit. You know what I'm saying? You definitely get some kind of negativity in any kind of press, especially even I will say this. If mainstream media goes out of their way to give good press, there's gonna be one or two sentences of shade in their comments. Tell me I'm lying.
You know, you're absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. A funny example to actually bring this to light is Comedy Central's Key and Peele. Right, the first season of Key and Peele, there is a skit they do on black ice, and you know, Keegan Michael Key plays the meteorologist, and he's out on the streets. I think he's in like New York or a big city like that, and there's snow on the ground. It's coming down. The weather's, you know, cold, and he's talking about the snow, and then the white journalist or meteorologist says, yeah, but we cannot forget about the dangers of that sneaky, deceptive, tricky black ice. And they kind of go back and forth. And he says, yeah, but it's that white snow that comes down that you can see visibly that's, messing with the roads.
Right, right.
Avoid it at all costs. And it's so funny, but that's exactly I think what you're saying is an example in a comedic way
Oh, definitely.
that they're elaborating on that. I pulled up an article. I wanted to be able to share it with you before we jumped on, but if you don't mind, I'll share it with the audience and we can look at it at the same time here.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see here. No, there it is. Okay. So let me get the source on this too, because I like to source up.
Definitely.
So this is press.uchicago.edu. So it's a University of Chicago online publication. So the Black Image in the White Mind, Media and Race in America. And this is by Robert M. Entman and Andrew Rojecki. I don't know if it's Rojecki or Rohecki or how you pronounce it correctly, but I think was to say Rojecki. It says, living in a segregated society, white Americans learn about, it says African Americans, not through personal relationships, but through the images the media show them. So the Black Image in the White Mind offers the most comprehensive look at the intricate racial patterns in the mass media and how they shape the ambivalent attitudes of whites towards blacks. Using the media, and especially television, as barometers of race relations, Robert Entman and Andrew Rojecki explore, but then go beyond the treatment of African Americans on network and local news to incisively uncover the messages sent about race by the entertainment industry, from primetime dramas and sitcoms to commercials and Hollywood movies. I mean, you and I coming up in the 80s, what was the image they used for the war on drugs?
It was in the hoods.
But
Always in the hood.
but what was the specific image they would use as a still shot when there was no footage? Do you remember?
Something to do with black folks.
It was a black man in handcuffs with two DEA agents or police officers with vests and all,
That's true.
escorting
That's
them.
very true. Very true.
War on crime. It was this almost the same exact image, but it was a
Very
different
true.
brother.
Very true.
Yeah, yeah, man. The subconscious, not whether you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. The image that has constantly been projected from that time prior and going forward to now, oftentimes is a person that's being carried off to jail of color, a black person. It's specific. Um, you could usually listen. We used to play a game. You listen to the crime without being in the room when the news was on and guess whether it was a brother that got arrested or if it was a white man that got arrested. You know what I mean? And we were
Right.
learning the profile subconsciously that a lot of criminal justice majors would confirm to you in private conversation. A lot of police officers, if you knew them personally and you had a conversation, it's not fair, man. But yeah, this is part of the psychological profile. We're taught
Hmm.
to profile everybody, right? That's what they would tell you. You're not just you, but especially you.
Right.
You know, um, there's a judge that has a program. I wish I could think of his name. I see a lot of short videos of people coming through his courtroom, and he'll he'll get on the legal representatives that what they're doing is discriminatory or how they're saying something, and then he'll point out, yeah, and they'll say to the defendant, be careful walking while black. Being black is still, a major issue in some places. And this is a white judge. You
Mm.
know, So I don't know how real it is. I got to look into the veracity of the actual court and its authority, but I think he is a real judge.
Dude, if he's saying that, it gotta be real. Cause I mean, honestly, how is the mainstream media gonna let a white judge give black folks that kind of information?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point. Point taken. Good point. It's funny as you're saying that. Like we look here. Okay, it says. I scroll down a little further. Entman and Rozecki interweave such astute observations with candid interviews of white Americans that make clear how these images of racial difference insinuate themselves into white thinking. Despite its disturbing readings of television and film, the book's cogent analysis and proposed policy guidelines offer hope that America's powerful media or mediated racial separation can be successfully bridged. Entman and Rozecki look at how television news focuses on Black poverty and crime out of proportion to the material reality of Black lives, how Black experts are only interviewed for Black themed issues, and how Black politics are distorted in the news. Now, I can't speak for your upbringing or your family's financial status at one time or another, but we were all pretty much raised with good moral values. We had both parents in our lives, if not in our house. Um, and even in the neighborhoods that were rougher that I moved to as a child, we were seen by some as peculiar and others we blended right on in with. You know, we were invited to dinner. Our parents invited them and their parents to dinner. We got out and had cookouts in the neighborhood. We were welcome in anybody's yard, whether they were Puerto Rican, Mexican, Black, white. Didn't have too many Asians in the neighborhood back then, but nonetheless, man, everybody pretty much got along and respected one another's differences if they were even important to the other. You know what I mean? And so, not saying we didn't run in or encounter people with racial ideologies or racist ideologies, but one thing we subconsciously understood was if they were living down the street, they were too poor to affect any difference in life based upon their prejudices or their racial opinion. So dudes said, nigga, okay, whatever, hunky, cracker, whatever. If that stings for you, I'm just aiming in the dark because I really don't care. You know what I mean? We all live in the same neighborhood. So what are we really talking about? And right on the television was the Jeffersons and All in the Family.
And Sanford and Son.
And Sanford and Son. Okay. And at night was Barney Miller, WKRP, Night Court. You know what I'm saying? Richard Pryor, stand up. Eddie Murphy, stand up. Andrew Dice Clay, stand up.
Man, you gotta think of how wild Saturday Night Live was back in them days too, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that was brilliance. The Blues Brothers, the Belushis, you know what I'm saying? You had Garrett Morrison.
You gotta think back when Damon Wayans and Eddie Murphy was all on there and all that, bro.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Then after that, we had In Living Color in the 90s. You know what I mean? Moments in Black history. My favorite one, the dude they said invented the self-service gasoline station.
Get it your damn self.
So a lot of us grew up poking fun at racial identity as a whole.
Right.
Like the ridiculosity of believing somebody was that much different than you. You were doing the same thing and calling it something different. You know, you call it cabbage, I call it sauerkraut, my G. You know what I'm saying? You put yours on a plate next to mashed potatoes. I throw mine on a sausage. You know what I mean? Like it was all there, bro. It was all there. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting, man. But yeah, I think it's cool that they wrote this book. I think it's something worth checking out. I'm not sure how old how old the book is in relation to the conversation, but let's see here. There it is. Yep. Black image in the white mind. See, and it's awesome that people are doing things like this to try to gain some insight and offer some perspective to people who have been the conscious observer of these things as they come and as they matriculate through society. You know,
Definitely, definitely. Because I mean, at the same time, because you got to think, if you keep going at the rate that you're going with this, and there's no type of means to try to not say mend fences, but to actually see into the other, see, not see into the mind, but to see what the other one is doing more so than just looking at what the TV is or what the TV says about them or what any kind of media says about them. You're not going to know, and you're gonna miss out on a whole lot of good shit.
facts, facts. To your point about the polarization, here's a great example of just the polarization of vantage points or viewpoints expressed by the media. Here, this is on Google. I typed in what are the, let me pull that. I'm actually going to show my work. Let's see. I typed in the effects of hip hop on Black identity in America. I just wanted to see what Google might show as far as insight. It says, additionally, this is from obviously an excerpt from an article. I'm not sure on the article, but we did not write the article, and then just don't, want there to be any misunderstanding of fair use. But additionally, hip hop has become associated with Black identity. A study states that by repetition of a genre that upholds violence and misogyny, Black culture seems to have adopted a similar mindset. But just right under that, people also ask, gotta love it, how did hip hop culture, sorry, not culture, how did hip hop influence Black culture? By providing the youth with a sense of identity and belonging. Hip hop's strong influence fosters a sense of unity, marked by economic hardships, racial discrimination, and limited opportunities. In these challenging conditions, young artists turn to music, poetry, and dance to express their experiences and emotions. Interesting, the polarization or polarity between those two opinions on the same topic, uh, right there in the same vicinity. I mean, the literal same page on a Google search about that, right? Uh, so when it comes to Black identity, right, and the misunderstandings of such, we go to shows like The Jeffersons, right? Moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the image behind me, that's likely a housing project. What's the difference? The amenities, the budget that was put into building it, the maintenance, the pride that people are taught to take in their environment, the sense of ownership versus, this is a place to stay, be thankful for a roof over your head. And you and I, we've seen it all. We've seen and known people and been through some of it, if not all of it. Um, the misconception of the lack of pride in not just identity, but in one's surroundings or their community, right? There are plenty of people still trying to uplift and build their community. Would you not say?
Oh, definitely.
And if there weren't the perceived, and not going to just say perceived, but the foreknowledge of a conspiracy as it pertains to these California wildfires, What would we see if people were allowed to assist one another, if people were allowed to go back into their homes? Because, people are being told they can't go back into their homes by the National Guard. Um, the hydrants were already turned off. Now, mind you, we're not talking about just when you cut the power because the danger, right? The threat of fire causing explosions with gas lines and power lines, right? But the water wasn't even stored or pressurized in the containment system connected to the hydrants, what, for a month prior to this?
Awful.
And of course, this isn't just affecting black folks, but it is also affecting black
It's a,
folks.
it's affecting everybody.
Everybody.
But at the same time, not everybody can afford to rebuild.
Right. So how many times did we see this happen? Watts, Detroit, Cleveland, Boston, DC, right? During the King assassination. And they said they were protests and they blamed it on black folks tearing up their own communities. But what did we see during George Floyd? What did we see during Michael Brown? Paid agitators, people by the busloads in some instances rolling into these communities, black
And
communities.
put a quick pin in that one because now, with those two tragedies that you just mentioned, the press on those young men prior to that was all negative shit. All negative shit.
Yeah. And how many times have we heard, well, look, they're killing themselves. They're doing this to themselves.
Right.
What people even somewhat in their right mind, are only doing this to themselves? And I say that not because I believe that perception that's been given, but because I know better. There's always opportunistic people who don't like your community. I hope other communities take note of this
Right.
because for a while it's been black folks, but that could very rapidly and suddenly change.
Bruh. I mean, dude, it had listen, and this is just my opinion. I think there's still always going to be black folks, regardless. But through every fad and phase, there's gonna be a new black folk. You know what I'm saying?
Like orange is the new black,
That part,
like the blue party tried to make gay the new black, LGBTQIA. It's amazing. Like we're going to do another episode for you all, right? It's going to connect to this topic and subject matter somewhat, but it's going to go a little more in depth, right? Because we were just discussing it before we went live. But Harlem, we're going to talk about a little bit about Harlem, the Harlem Renaissance. You know, there's a brother that has a channel. Shout out to him, UBTV. Excellent documentaries. Excellent documentaries. He's inspired me on this one because I've touched on the subject matter on both 3 PMD when we were both, with the fellas, during that stretch. And then when we switched over to our format, um, we've touched on it as well, how someone else is always piggybacking the civil accomplishments of the civil rights, continuous civil rights movement. Let me just put it that way, of black people in America. There's always other groups of people that benefit, I would dare say, more than even the so-called black folks, former Negroes and colored people that are pushing for rights. And it's not that we don't want everybody to have the same rights, but because our rights have been stepped on so egregiously in a historic manner and even in continued fashion until it's convenient, like I say, when they want to make orange the new black, or they want to make, you know, gay the new black. It's no slight against anyone that meets any of the descriptions in their own perception above mentioned, but this is what's happened, and culture has addressed it. I can't remember the pundit that spoke up and said, well, what about the Native Americans? They're not immigrants. And she said, excuse me. She said, let's be completely genuine in this. She said, they came from Siberia. Now, what Ann Coulter didn't really go into is what I want to tie in with this topic. You already know me, bro, so you ain't going to be
Of
shocked.
course.
Who are black people really in America? What's their real identity? What was it prior to Negro, colored, black, African American, or Afro American, then back to black, then to African American by the late 80s? Now, remember, this is late 80s, early 90s terminology. So we've been rocking with this almost 30 years or more, right? But we've seen the progression. What other group of people? I mean, did Ukrainians go through being called, one ethnic identity or a color, and then to another ethnic identity within that color mindset to yet another? No. All these different groups of people, it's not to pick out one, but you're absolutely right. There's only one that's been treated that way and been put through that process of identity evolution or de-evolution, however you look at it.
And the messed up part is every time it happens, they always say, oh, well, now I know what it feels like to be black.
Right.
But yet and still, it don't change nothing, though. It don't change nothing.
Not at all. Not at all. Join our locals, y'all. Check us out. Rumble.com/Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited or UNL. Join our locals, man. Subscribe. Pretty soon we're going to have, things moved over to a paywall. We're going to offer you the basics, but, still probably a little for free just to keep allowing a new audience to see what we have put up already and what we're continuing to do. But, join it, subscribe, join us, comment, criticize, analyze, contribute, collaborate. We're open to it all,
Indeed.
We're open to it all.
Indeed.
Subscribe to our channel. It's got my name, but this is our channel. YouTube.com/@Jay.Drewz3692. So you could check out Corey and I, or Muddy Waters and I, the dominator of the deep, the dive instructor, the splash specialist.
T-shirts coming soon.
Indeed. Check out the Beyond the Veil podcast on the same channel.
Indeed.
Swable Room is our affiliate, our conglomerate, always home team. SwableRoomMedia.com or SwableRoomMedia.com and YouTube.com/Swable Room. Check us out. Check the fellas out. My man Muddy.
Content, man.
Yeah, Muddy's got his own content. Goldtron. What's the left leg of Goldtron, right?
Yeah, buddy. New episode coming soon. Just got to finish editing it.
Indeed. Dirty 30. My main man Ed. My main man C. Rucker. Beat Down Brown.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, Ab will be coming out with some content with his random his random shh. I like that. I like when he goes in on that. But yeah, man, check us all out. Shout out to the whole gang. But back to the matter at hand. Black identity, man. We hear identity politics discussed right in the media often as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how we had a president that was described as the first black president, but when interviewed by Tom Joyner, y'all can look up these transcripts. You can look at some of his other interviews. He stated he was the first Kenyan or African American president. He made a delineation between that. While in office, I want to say it was January of 2011, he signed back into law the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act. He spoke on it in Cairo. So, of course, if you weren't tuned in like that and you haven't gone back after hearing about it, you won't know what was said in that address. After leaving Cairo, they went to Morocco, which is the first country to recognize the independence of the United States of America from Great Britain. So there's some hidden gems in those things if y'all research those for yourself, whether you consider yourself indigenous or more, or if you know that your ancestry is Native or American Indian. Uh, these are the hidden identities. These are hidden. There's a series called Hidden Colors, right? But there's a hidden identity that's been supplanted and usurped by the powers that be, whether you view them as elite, governmental, agency wide, confined to one particular pocket of the population. However you look at it, there's been an effort to continuously hide an identity that we once held. And it's about time that people start to understand Black is more than just a color. Black is more than just a social identity or a racial classification. And I'm not saying you should or shouldn't continue to call yourself Black. I don't agree with the term. I never really did, uh, except for when the word power was added onto it. I can't front on that. I mean, the black fisted pick and the dashiki and even the army fatigues, depending on what urban market you wanted to represent in. I've
What
been
part
there,
of the
done that.
power you was a part of?
I've been there, done that. It still ain't far from my heart. Just saying, my understanding had to grow because my family reunions and the stories I was being given in the classroom wasn't adding up. Okay, just saying. So I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on that. And then you also got to be aware of the social climate because there are groups that are being pinned as Black identity extremist groups. You know, and that's all a part of a plan and a conspiracy that you need to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You innocently just trying to find your identity and your power, you know, as a individual and as a part of a community. Uh, but just be aware. Be aware of where you are too. Some parts of the country got to catch up with other parts of the country. It's always been that way. When it comes to fashion, you know what I mean? Entertainment or mindsets, paradigms that have to shift. So yeah, man. I remember we did talk about what was it? Uh, Blue Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Blue Ivy when we talked about this in the first time we covered this topic of Black mediocrity and identity?
No, it wasn't Blue
No,
Ivy. It
no.
was Northwest.
Northwest.
It was Northwest.
The Lion King, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No,
No, wait.
it was a play that she did or something. I want to say, wasn't it?
Yeah, The Lion King.
It was a Lion King.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people were mad because of the nepotism aspect of the storyline. And we were just pointing out, like, you know, okay, so are you mad about Paris Hilton? Are you upset with the Kardashians because their dad was famous? And, you know, we pick and choose, right? Don't we?
Again, my thing is, it's always cool when it benefits that person or that group of people. You
Correct.
know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So it could have been some other strings, or somebody did not get something that they felt they should have got,
Hmm.
and it went to Northwest, and now it's an issue with it.
Oops. I got the wrong logo up, y'all. So check that out too. But we're deeper dives, affiliated, never separated. But
Indeed.
check out join our Rumble, join our locals on Rumble or through Rumble, and check us out. You know, like, share, subscribe, of course. Um, but yeah, it's always been that double standard. It's always been a picking and choosing. We criticize one, but because we like one a little bit more than that one, we go in a little less. They might be guilty, and I'm only using that word loosely, of the same things, the same character flaws, the same personality defects, the same oversight or overlooking of people that were valuable to them at one time. But we will pick and choose, especially when it comes down to controversy. It's just like there's people that couldn't stand Jay-Z. So they couldn't wait for some allegation, whether it be true or false, and won't wait to find out whether it's true or false. You know,
Yeah.
Shout out to Jaguar Wright. Not saying Jag ain't telling the truth, because most of which, what Jag has spoken on has been verified on some level. But in this one particular case, does that mean that we all assume, oh, he did that? Without the preponderance of the evidence.
Right.
Did he? A little different, not too much different, but a little different. Only in that they have evidence of witness intimidation. They have evidence of collusion of certain people and the silence of certain others, not just being paid for, but being beneficial to them as well. Um, but we'll still have to see how that plays out. We've spoken on it. You
Definitely.
know what I mean? We've given our take on it. But I would still not downplay any accomplishment that Sean Combs has truly and earnestly gained in and of his own ability, talent, or effort. You know what I'm saying? But now those things that are tied to the mistreatment of other people, other human beings, we still got to be fair in the assessment. Is it a legal problem? Okay, you mean he took your publishing, but you signed it away. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's okay, but I'm just saying, at least in that instance, you can't say there aren't other people that convinced other people that they signed to sign away their publishing. You know what I mean? Now, just because they also had people sign away their publishing, doesn't mean that we could accuse those other people per se of having baby oil with substances running through it and other things associated. So we'll see. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I will say, like we said in the last time we really covered this months and months ago, last year, that he is a scapegoat. No matter how you slice it or dice it, when things were good with Diageo, people whispered about this. Some people were on social media screaming out about it, who turned out to be correct in some ways. But nonetheless, some of the cohorts and accomplices' names were not mentioned unless they were already deceased. And I'm not talking about Jag, because Jag put everybody that, and then some, that she
Right.
has evidence, according to her, that some that has been released, some that hasn't. But nonetheless, man, listen, a scapegoat. In case you don't know, this is deeper dive, so we can touch on anything. Okay, scapegoat. Go into your Bible. Go back and study some Hebrew tradition, some Judaistic teaching, and understand that the priests would lay their hands in a symbolic and spiritual transfer of their iniquities that they had performed, their sins or their misdeeds. They would transfer those things energetically onto the goat, and then they would slit the goat's throat, and the goat would run through the village or the town, and its blood would be let out. Bloodletting. It would bleed out, and that was representative of their sins being, you know, purged from the body and from the mind, and they were being to be forgiven. Okay, but that scapegoat was a blemishless goat. It started out perfect. I'm sure Diddy started out as any other young man or child at one time, innocent in his intentions, and his desires, his goals, just want to be something, be somebody, have something. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to gain or garner sympathy for the man. I'm just saying we got to recognize that when you're seeing a scapegoat, regardless of what they're guilty of, you're seeing a scapegoat.
Yeah.
There's a larger deal going on, a larger priesthood behind the scenes, and that ain't this episode, so I'll stop there. Even though we are deeper dives, but
Right on.
I've said it in the past. You want to look up our past episodes. I told you the role, the position. We're talking about a religion within a religion, and it's orchestrated like a business.
Yeah,
It's complicated.
definitely. But like you were saying, the whole writing away of signing away of publishing it might not be right, but at the same time, it is business.
It's business.
The whole baby oil thing, that's personal.
That's personal. Yep.
There's a difference between the two.
Absolutely.
A
And
big difference.
I think one of the biggest discrepancies with the oil being personal is the fact that some people on their personal time, check this out, were being propositioned to do something strange, not just for a little change, but do something strange for some other opportunities that were business related.
That part.
So when you start to mix those two things, let's ask ourselves, not only is that even legal, but is it equitable and is it ethical?
That part. This is not a shredded wheat biscuit. You cannot intertwine the two.
Facts. Absolute facts. Indeed.
Yo.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, man, we hope you've enjoyed the content so far. Like, share, and subscribe. This is the Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited podcast.
Indeed.
We are trying to grow. We are trying to expand, and we will collaborate, when it's sensible, when it makes sense. We'd love to have guests on. If there's something you want to come on and you want us to cover, something that you would like to be interviewed on, and you specialize in an area, man, we are open. We're working on, things to get a budget. So this is just mainly just for the publicity at this time. We will not front. But very soon, the other remuneration and compensation will be available. I'm speaking that into existence in this year.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For all of the platforms. But shoot, is anything else you wanted to cover, man, while we're still here?
Thinking about that. Yeah, we was talking about as far as the contrast within our community, the whole again, we were talking about how we're always put in a negative light. So that means that we have to put ourselves in a positive light. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
the issue that occurs when we put ourselves in a positive light is we tend to get backlash from our own community saying,
Right.
oh, well, they're just doing that for publicity or to get attention. Well, why is the backlash from our own community? You know what I'm saying? Who knows the struggles that we go through is standing there with us, next to us, saying, well, we never get painted in a good light. But then when we try to when we show that, hey, the hood ain't all bad. It's good people in the hood. It's good things that go on in the hood in our community. Now we're just trying to get attention. I don't understand that.
So what? You know what I mean? So what if the person's trying to get attention? We deserve attention from time to time, don't we all?
We all deserve some good attention.
Good attention, right? Absolutely. It's crazy. Like when we get into this topic, like we can branch off into so many different, areas of discussion. But even like in business, how many times have you overheard a brother say about another brother or sister's business, niggas not gonna get rich off of me? You can't cut me a break, sister, brother. You can't give me a discount. Why am I discount?
Was the whole
Why am I gonna discount my
that
services?
was my whole thought too.
Why would you want me to discount my services? If I wasn't here, you'd have to go to somebody else's community and pay them for the exact same thing. And they would not be coming down on their price unless they decided that's what they needed to do, to promote their business.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I get what you're saying completely.
Mm-hmm.
And we deal with that all the time, man, from social media to brick and mortar.
And that brick and mortar is, bruh, bruh. Now, I'm reading in one of the audio books I'm listening to. They were talking about how word of mouth is still one of the most vast ways to get information across. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
And you know for a fact, you tell the right person something, the word is gonna get spread like wow.
wildfire.
You know
Up,
what I'm
up,
saying?
up.
So that whole bad choice of words.
It's okay. We
I
both
wasn't even
we
thinking
both
about it.
Biden. We both Biden that one. We Biden that.
I wasn't even thinking about it. Respect everybody out there for real. Like my apologies. I wasn't even thinking about it. But word will spread like the plague.
Facts.
And and uh you trying to start your own little business. You got stuff going on. And of course, starting a business is a risk within itself.
Yes, big risk.
And a lot of people who start a business, it might be something that I'm not going to say it's something that they just want. Well, a lot have, but it's not just something to get extra money with or have extra money because, shoot, let's be real. Businesses don't profit like in the first couple of years, a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? It might take
Indeed.
3 to 5 years for them to start making a profit. So some of these businesses are started from out of something that is somebody's passion, something that somebody loves to do. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And now let's just say you go to this one soul food spot. And that day, maybe you might have got busy and the macaroni might not be hitting like it normally hit. You go and tell your whole crew, your whole squad, your whole lineage, don't go to them. That spot is trash. They macaroni terrible.
Yep.
Word. So you can't go to, but if you go to another spot of another ethnicity, food terrible, service terrible.
Yep.
Nothing is said. Nothing is said.
Absolutely. It's like going to a certain type of buffet, and even if you get violently ill right in front of them, they gonna say, "Well, you ate it, even though it came back up." So that'll be $15.99.
Right.
Yeah, man. But
Right.
we look at our own sometimes and we'll say, "Yo, man, you need to cut me a break. You need to," and some of our people will when they can. They absolutely will. They love to do that. But if that's happening all the time, there's no profit. No one operates a business to operate at cost.
And then
So
at the same time, if you cut them a break this one time, they're gonna expect it more than once.
it depends. But yeah, there are a lot of people that will. But we need to put a stop to that, y'all. We listen. Don't expect nothing from your brother or sister that you wouldn't expect from a total stranger. You know what I mean? When it comes to business, let's separate that. Let's use common sense and common decency. You know, in the community, in the hood, in the ghetto. I mean, not too many ghettos left, but there are some still. But
Because in business, if somebody else is giving you a discount on something, believe me, it's another motive behind that, for one. And two, if they're giving you a discount on it, they didn't pay for it themselves.
I was gonna say
It's
that,
not coming out their pocket.
or they're gonna get it. They're gonna have it paid for in some other way that you're not seeing. They've
Then
jacked
now
up the price of something else.
that was the first thing I was saying. That was my first thing. So yeah, you picked up what I put down for sure.
You're gonna
For
pay
sure.
for it one way or another. It ain't just taxes that does that.
For sure. And if they come out with some baby oil, run like DMC.
Gotta tell them no. Gotta tell them no. Okay.
I'm just saying.
They bring out baby oil, you gotta tell them no.
If they come out with baby oil, you come out with some baby powder.
There you go. That ain't sunscreen.
For sure.
That'll cook. This
sure.
baby oil is like cooking oil in the sun. So I was just saying that.
For sure.
It's not very much benefit. Anyway, no diddy. So, but yeah, man, this has been another one under the belt. Like, share, subscribe. Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited podcast. You can find us on youtube.com/@Jay.Drewz3692. Swable Room. You can find us on the Swable Room on youtube.com. You can find us on rumble.com. Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited podcast. Join our locals. Like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, collaborate, view.
Tell a friend to tell a friend, tell that one too.
Yes, indeed. Get the word out, y'all. But it's been another one. Until next time, we bid you adieu.
Indeed.